Hello and welcome to Dingoes Ate My Podcast. This week we're talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the episode entitled The Pack. I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.
And Justin.
Alright, so this episode originally aired on April 7th, 1997, attracting 3.6 million viewers. And in this episode, Buffy and her Sunnydale High classmates are on a field trip to the zoo.
Yay!
A gang of 4 kids taunt and terrorize other students, and when one boy, Lance, does not have the courage to tell Principal Flutie what they have done to him, they reward him by taking him to the hyena house even though it is under quarantine. Xander follows to help him, whereas Willow and Buffy are stopped by a zookeeper person. In the hyena house, the hyena's eyes flash as they look at the gang of 4 and Xander. Their eyes flash in return. Xander is now part of the gang, and his behavior has changed. He becomes insulting and cruel, especially to Willow. Even more ominous, the school's new mascot pig, Herbert, tries to flee when it smells Xander. Giles shows no inclination to believe anything is wrong with Xander, except that he is a 16-year-old boy.
Yeah.
His attitude changes when the missing Herbert is found dead and eaten. After checking his books, Giles warns that they could be dealing with a case of possession. Buffy runs to find Xander and finds the pig's cage demolished. Xander jumps Buffy and pins her to the floor. Buffy knocks him unconscious with a desk and locks him in the book cage in the library. When Principal Flutie finds the mascot dead, he knows that the original gang of 4 are involved and calls them into his office. There they start encircling him, close in, and finally attack him, and kill and eat the terrified Principal Flutie. Returning from a teacher's meeting to the library, Giles tells Willow and Buffy about what happened to Principal Flutie. Giles and Buffy go to the zoo warden, who tells them that he's not surprised by the possession, but knows about the magic involved, but is not sure how the students got affected. He hasn't been able to figure out the ritual. Giles supplies the missing information. A predatory act is required, like when the 4 original students tormented the boy. Buffy offers herself as bait to lure them back to the hyena house, with the warden, now in full Mayasi, I don't know how you pronounce the name of the tribe, ritual attire, is supposed to perform a reverse of the possession spell with Giles' help. Giles realizes that the warden had tried to call the power for himself, but couldn't figure out how to until he learned about the predatory act from Giles. The warden then knocks Giles unconscious, for the 3rd time in the series.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Add another number to the counter.
Willow reaches the hyena house before Buffy, and the warden ties her up and puts a knife to her throat, telling her that this is the predatory act that will trigger the ritual and save the students. Buffy arrives with the others close behind. The pursuing pack knocks her down, and the warden uses the predatory act to shout a spell that pulls the animal spirits from the 5 students into himself. In the fight, Buffy knocks the warden into the hyena's pit where he is eaten, and the gang of 4 flees. The next day, to save their friendship, Xander convincingly lies to Buffy and Willow that he has no memory of being possessed. Giles knows the truth and agrees to keep Xander's secrets. So that is The Pack. And Justin, you had some thoughts on this episode, so why don't you go right ahead?
I didn't like it.
Why not?
I don't know. I thought I would like seeing like the cheesy 90s bully group kids, but then I'm like, you know what? No, this is absolutely terrible after a while.
They were possessed by a hyena spirit.
Even before that, I didn't like them then.
You're not supposed to like them.
I know I'm not supposed to like them, I just...
The tolerance of them was a bit too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really see much difference before and after the possession, to be honest.
They were far more violent after.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally ate a dude.
They ate a pig! The poor piggy!
I think it's worse that they ate a person.
Still, the
Sure.
poor piggy!
Okay, yeah,
Alright.
it is. But...
So, let's talk about a few things in the episode. So, pretty much right at the beginning, Buffy, Willow, and Xander are at the zoo, and Willow and Xander run up to Buffy, and they're like, we just saw the zebras mating. It was like the Heimlich, but with stripes.
Out of all the particular things, I never figured that they would go ahead with that to sort of change the subject from Buffy being bullied by the bullies. And it's like, okay, that definitely kind of tosses the bully scene off to the side, but really? But then you also remember the show and you're like, yeah, it's not the worst thing they could have said.
Okay, so one of the bullies named Kyle,
Yeah.
he is, in the first scene that you see him in, wearing golf pants. Like these really ugly plaid pants. Why is he wearing golf pants in a high school?
Yeah.
I didn't really care for what anyone was wearing this episode. Even Buffy had like a weird.
She had that weird coat on at the beginning. Looked like she shot like a couch or something. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So they bully Lance and then end up taking him into the hyena cage.
Yeah.
And then the possession and everything happens. And they're possessed by hyena spirit. 10 on 10, perfect episode.
Bark, bark.
Anyway, we see Buffy and Willow at the Bronze having a conversation, where Willow is concerned because something is different with Xander.
Yeah. He took some of the food and thought, what the hell is this shit? And started smelling Buffy's hair.
Well, this is a little bit before then. And then Buffy's like, well, I don't pay close attention to Xander. Things like his health, mood, blood pressure. And then Willow's just like, 130/80.
Willow knows a little bit too much about Xander.
How did she find that out?
Oh no!
Like, is she sneaking into his house to like take his blood pressure, or is she just carrying something in her backpack and every once in a while, Xander, give me your arm?
Or was there like an actual medical test that has records on it or something?
Like, did she hack into his doctor's office database?
Maybe.
That wouldn't be too surprising.
That actually could be. That might actually have happened. Headcanon accepted.
But then, of course, there's caring, and then there's creeping.
So Xander comes in and acts really creepy at the Bronze, and we get to meet Herbert, the school mascot.
Piggy!
Makes its debut this episode.
Yep, and I'm sure nothing bad will happen to him.
Except get eaten.
It's cute little
In the
Piggy!
same episode it's debuted in.
Xander spends a bunch of this episode being a dick to Willow.
Oh, one hell of a dicks.
So they're forced to stay inside for gym and play dodgeball, and why isn't Buffy amazing at this? She's the friggin' Slayer.
Well, out of all the people on her side, she was the only one to kind of survive out of the other 5 kids on the opposite team.
Yeah,
Which were all hyenas.
Yes, they were all the pack.
And the other kid that was, not...
Yeah, Lance.
Yeah.
A giant case of betrayal. Why?
Oh no.
I love the gym teacher at the end of the scene. God, this game is brutal. I love it.
You need help, good sir.
Yeah, so Xander and the pack end up eating Herbert, and Xander somehow develops super hearing? I don't think hyenas have super hearing.
I think they just wanted to continue on with the animal aspect and do an interesting transfer to things. But yeah, I was kind of like, dude, that's only in superhero movies that you get something like that.
Yeah, so he overhears Willow and Buffy talking, and basically Willow's like really upset because Xander's been a dick.
Definitely. And she brings up the point of this. The main point of when it kind of started was when Buffy kind of took part in their group.
Yeah. So that might come up at some point later. Who knows?
So, Hyena Xander may have planted a seed or something,
Well, in most sort of aspects, I can kind of understand the hyena aspect of things, but I think of it more as more of an animalistic personality has been added to a person. At least in the beginning, because Xander, for the most part, is still Xander. The one point where I think that Xander isn't Xander anymore and he's more the hyena is during the car scene a little later on.
Yeah.
But with everything that he says to Willow, everything that he says to Buffy and whatnot, those are still his kind of feelings on things, and it's a bit understandable for the most part.
No. He says some pretty horrible shit to Willow.
Yeah.
And that's not Xander.
True. That's kind of starting to mix a bit more into the hyena.
Basically dropping out of geometry so he doesn't have to see her pasty white face or something ever again.
Yeah. Which is a scene I want to talk about in a little bit.
Okay,
that was probably the strongest scene in this episode, I would say, because of the impact that it caused Willow.
It's literally the one that I have the most issues with. That's the funny part.
Okay.
Buffy takes her information to Giles, who's like, I'm sorry, it's very serious. He's turned into a 16-year-old boy.
The sad thing is, it's wildly true.
And then Willow and Buffy are doing some research, and Willow's like, why couldn't Xander have been possessed by a puppy or ducks?
I don't know. Out of those two, the puppy would probably be safest. The last thing you need is to piss off a duck.
So the pack minus Xander ends up eating Principal Flutie, and he is our second faculty member to die in the series.
So
The
sad.
principal, no.
But out of the two, I'm honestly thinking the science teacher was a little bit more sad. He actually liked Buffy.
Yeah, which is a bad...
Well, yeah.
Which doesn't end well for pretty much anyone.
Hey, Buffy, I kind of like you. Ow, that was...
That ended quickly.
Yeah.
Buffy and Willow lock Xander in the book cage, and why do they have the book cage? I don't get what the purpose of that is in a high school.
They needed something.
To lock away the bad books.
Those, the purpose of those in, major libraries is to put in stuff that's, super valuable.
Specific records or other sort of particular things that they keep.
Why would they have that in a high school library? You're not going to have first editions of Shakespeare in a school library.
The adult books.
Yeah, that they carry in high schools.
Exactly. For the teachers to read.
Oh, so Buffy's going to go out and she gives Willow the key to the cage that Xander's in. Why? Why'd she give her the key? She knows that Willow likes Xander, and he could easily talk her into opening the cage. Why would you give her the key?
Does she really know that? But again, it kind of leads to
she clearly, earlier in the episode, is like, okay, it's clear that you like Xander, why don't you make a move?
But I think it's also a case of Buffy has other priorities to kind of work on. So she needs to trust somebody, and aside from Giles, Willow's kind of the only one.
Well, yeah, actually...
Plus, the point that Willow brings up a little later on, it's also a decent enough point. Again, it's kind of a case of good idea, bad idea. Which is it?
So the pack end up threatening a mother and her baby, but they don't attack because they're full and tired.
Man.
I don't know, one was kind of drooling, so I mean...
Yeah, but then they went back to sleep, so...
Yeah.
Xander wakes up in the book cage and talks to Willow, and, he pretends to be normal Xander again. We find out that the pack is going to come get Xander out. Xander gets freed, and Buffy shows up just in time to save Willow. Giles gets KO'd by the zookeeper, which is the third time he's been knocked out, keeping that count alive. The zookeeper gets eaten by hyenas after the spirit enters him, and he gets, chucked into the hyena pit. And Xander pretends not to have any memory of the preceding events, even though he does.
Yeah.
So then the other 4 students would probably have memories of eating their principal.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going
That'll
to
probably
have
traumatize them for life.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
David Traumatized.
Alright, so for the music in this episode, there's a song that plays when the pack enters the bronze, and that is a Sprung Monkey song called Reluctant Man.
Yeah.
There is another song when Buffy and Willow enter the bronze, which is by Dashboard Prophets, which is All You Want. And with the scene when the pack walks through the courtyard, I just did a little walking motion with my hand, I don't know why, was a song by Far called Job's Eyes. Alright, so let's talk about the one scene that you liked apparently in this episode, Justin.
And the one scene that you had an issue with?
It's the one I have the largest issue with.
Okay, it's the one I have the least issue with.
Okay. My issue with it is... So, in universe, this is the part that doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
So, in universe... okay. How do I explain this? Okay, so Xander says, I'm dropping geometry because I don't want to look at you anymore, Will. Basically.
Well,
yeah,
not all that, but leading up to that.
That's pretty much what he says.
Yeah.
essentially.
So, in universe, is Willow meant to not be attractive?
I don't think that's the case.
Because, it's not the first time that they've kind of hinted that.
What, with Cordelia or something?
Well, yeah, but Cordelia's just a bitch.
I know.
Bleh.
But, like...
I do not know. But that sort of thing. I suppose you could take that as an implied message of that, but...
It could also just be that Xander's possessed and just being a dickhead, but
I honestly think that's
the way
kind
I
of most
saw
of the
it.
case.
No.
I didn't see it as being her being unattractive or anything like that. I don't know.
Honestly, I think it's just kind of the aspect of nerd sort of particular things, and that's the kind of thing that pushes people away in that sort of case, but even then, that's not much.
Well, we'll see if that comes up again in the series. Anyway, so David, what were your thoughts on this episode?
Bark, bark.
Okay, that's not really a thought.
Well, it was hyenas, and despite the fact that they're more closely related to cats, they're still kind of canine-like, so the bark, bark.
Okay. Justin, do you have any other thoughts? Other than just not really liking it? That's not a thought either.
It's, my feelings being expressed.
Alrighty. So, I'm not a huge fan of this episode, but apparently I liked it more than you did.
Okay.
I think it's moderately entertaining.
No, I can definitely agree
It
with
had
that.
moments, sure. But overall, coming off from the last episode, I would have to say it's borderline mediocre.
Okay. So, why don't we go with your ratings. David, your rating out of 10?
Well, I think on the whole, just going from the base of the scale, there were the entertaining little bits of everything that sort of happened. But then, of course, there was the cringy bits with bully aspect, and then Xander being a bully as well, dropping it down a bit. But then, of course, there was the piggy. And the piggy was absolutely adorable and cute.
At least it was.
No, I think on whole, that probably would kick it up around 6-ish.
A 6 from David. Alright, for you, Justin?
I give it a 4.
A 4. Okay, well, I'm going to be at about a 6 as well.
Okay.
I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's better than you do, apparently.
Yeah.
Because I love how ridiculous and stupid it is.
Bark, bark.
Fair enough.
Alright.
I'm basically almost dreading what is gonna happen next now. In, future episode.
Speaking of our next episode is called Angel.
Okay, well that might actually take it up a notch, I don't know.
So in this episode, Buffy discovers Angel's dark secret and hesitates to do anything about it, which could spell danger for someone she loves.
Okay, that at least sounds decent.
Dun dun dun. Alrighty, so did either of you have any questions for me about what to expect coming up? Or about things that have happened, or just whatever?
No more hyenas.
I don't think we'll see any more hyena spirits.
Oh, good.
Are we going to see any additional mascots that are going to be coming in?
They'll get a new pig.
There might be a mascot when they go to college. But I don't think there's another. I don't remember for sure.
Well, with everything that happened with the piggy here, yeah, probably not the best, do you?
Yeah, I don't remember. Anything else from either of you?
Bark, bark.
That's not a question. No from Justin. I'm going to assume that's a no for Dave.
You know my response, Fall.
Did either of you have any last minute thoughts? David, don't say bark, bark.
Oink.
He oinked and laughed. I think David's a hyena. Or at least possessed by a hyena. This plotline sucks. That's all I have to say about this episode.
Justin, I think you're confusing sucking with being amazing.
No, the plot of this episode I just did not care about at all.
It's not that bad. Anyway, so yes, next week we will be discussing the episode Angel. I've been Paul.
I've been Dave.
And Justin.